What is freedom? In the classical American sense, I think freedom means to think what you want, go where you want, do what you want, whenever you want. In each of these meanings of freedom, though, they have something in common. You want. Which makes me think freedom is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. There is 7.9 billion people on this world right now, and I think each and every one of us has our own idea of what freedom means. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what my freedom is. Hello, my name is Tristan, the Yonderpreneur. In all my videos I say, helping you find geographic and financial freedom. But today in this video, I just want to talk about what freedom means to me. For a number of years now, I've been obsessive in thinking what freedom means to me, what freedom means in general, and what freedom means to a broader spectrum of people. I think what triggered this was my experience living in Mexico a few years back. I was doing pretty good in Mexico. I was the happiest that I had been for quite a long time prior to moving to Mexico. I had a good job as a salesman. I was earning okay money, not good, not bad. I had a nice car and I had good friends that I still talk to today. At that point, I was mulling over the idea of living in Mexico forever. I didn't know if it would be like my forever home or if I'd eventually move somewhere else one day, but that was something I was thinking about. But my decision was forced on me when 2020 came around. Since I was in a sales-related role that required me to talk to people face to face, I was essentially let off when COVID came. Me and my entire department of 25 other people all lost our jobs in a day. And it wasn't like I could just go and find another sales job in Mexico doing the same thing, because every other company within that week also did the same thing for all of their salesmen. Turns out it was a global issue, and everyone in hospitality, everyone in retail, and a lot of people in sales all lost their job almost immediately. So my options were either stay in Mexico, where I had about 3 to 4 months of savings left, or I could have gone back to Canada, where my parents had been able to keep their jobs so that at least they could keep a roof over my head and food in the fridge. To most watching this sounds like a really obvious decision, to go back to Canada. However, it wasn't really that easy because I'd already been hearing about the crazy lockdown situations in Canada, where in contrast, Mexico did nothing. The beaches were still alive, there were peoples in the bar. The only thing that changed in Mexico was you saw a few more people wearing masks here and there. So the decision wasn't exactly easy for me. However, since I only had about a few months until I would be living in the barrio, I decided to go back to Canada. I then lived under Justin Trudeau's draconian lockdown for a few months. I spent a lot of time hiking mountains, even though you weren't allowed to leave your house for non-essential activities. When you're out in the Canadian wilderness, who's going to stop you? So what is freedom? I think, for me, not being able to financially make it in a place that made me happy was a bigger issue to my personal freedoms than any of the lockdowns and ridiculousness that was forced on me. It was not being able to financially stop these things from happening to me was the bigger issue. If I was financially stronger and I had dividends or fixed income, I could have just weathered the storm in Mexico rather than going back to Canada, and my way of life would have gone basically without changing too much. So freedom to me means being able to be where you want, regardless of any external factors you may have in your life. So step 1 to my definition of freedom is financial freedom. And I understand that this idea of financial freedom might seem like this huge pie in the sky idea for a lot of people. Most people can't think how they would achieve financial freedom until they retire or they go on pension. And of course, if you are already at that age where you are receiving a pension, that is awesome. Good job. But I am not as confident that these old age securities in a lot of Western countries will be there for me when I am of that age. I have an objective bias against relying on the government for anything in this world, so I don't include pension and these things in my long-term plans. Talking about financial independence in your 20s might sound ridiculous, but it is possible to achieve. And if you don't achieve it in your 20s, the earlier you start, the earlier you will eventually receive it. It's true, unless you were born into wealth, there is no trust fund to float you to financial freedom. But what you can do is start with understanding and learning about different kinds of sources of income that will not inhibit your freedoms. Things like dividends from companies, fixed income from bonds, and just high interest savings accounts even. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you can sit in bed and rot all day, or you can be actively working every day. Regardless of what you do, it is likely, if you do these things safely, that you will receive income. But let's say you want to have $1,000 a month minimum from your dividend sources. You need a portfolio that's at least the size of $180,000. This is going at a yield of 7%. Personally, I think if you are targeting a yield higher than 7%, you are opening yourself up to a lot of risk. What I'm saying though is if you haven't already built up a stack of wealth already, it's unlikely that you're going to achieve financial independence in the short term. However, in my quest for financial freedom, I am still quite far away from my $180,000 portfolio. I was above it once, but it was due to a really good stock pick, and unfortunately, greed has separated me from my money. Lessons learned. With acknowledging that my dividend portfolio will not be able to put a roof over my head or food in my stomach, I have to find another way to achieve freedom, and that is by sacrificing my freedom of time. So I sacrifice my freedom of time. What does that mean? I work, just like everybody else. However, let's say when you take on work as a doctor, very common and well-respected job, you not only give up your freedom of time when you're a doctor, but you also usually are giving up your geographic freedom. You lose 100% of your control over your time, but also your physical space. Once you're a doctor, the money you make largely depends on you being in a certain place at a certain time to do a certain job. However, that money that you make from doing that is pretty good. So please don't take this video as me trying to convince you not to be a doctor or not to do some job. This is not career advice. This is not financial advice. All I'm saying is that is not what freedom means to me. Right now, I only do work, or mostly only do work, that takes away my freedom of time, not my freedom of location, aka I work remotely. Besides a little bit of modeling here and there, where I do have to be in a certain spot in a certain time, it's more of a hobby for me and it's not, something long term. Well, I have 100% control over where I work, but I don't have control over when I work. It's all a step-by-step process. If I had learned skills that would have allowed me to live remotely while I was still living in Mexico, there was a chance that I may have never left Mexico. So my future pertains to keeping the momentum of living this life of location freedom until I can have full freedom via financial freedom. I don't look to live in a new place every 2-3 weeks. I think the typical digital nomad life is actually a quick path to burnout and returning to your home country. So my next steps are to continue growing the Yonderpreneur brand so it can help me achieve freedom, to continue chasing knowledge and education so my skills are always increasing, so I can always continue having some sort of security in working remotely, and so I can go just day by day to achieving what I call freedom.